All right, as you're coming in today, we welcome you to Freeze Financial Group, Adams Wealth Partners, and Gentians bringing to you Health and Wealth, which is a great time of year to do it because we're talking about resetting your immunity. Just about the time you're going to go connect with all sorts of family from other regions. Michelle's here to save us
Mhm.
all the trouble of being sick for 3 weeks afterward. And not just of the
Mhm.
company, but actually
Mhm.
physically being sick. I'm joking with y'all. I'm just mad. So as we gather during these times, we want to thank, we're super grateful. All three of us are super grateful for the bigger idea here that we put together, which is we care more about you as a whole person. We are very interested in the resources that you have and helping you with them, but we know it's a whole life that you live. And why don't I kick it over to Miles? How about yourself, Miles from Adams Wealth Partners?
Yeah, no, thanks everybody for joining us here today. And Michelle, thanks for being with us again. These are always very informative sessions. Then I always walk away with a little nugget or two that I can put into my own life and try and share with friends and family. And I think being on the immunity topic this time of the year is a very timely topic as I sit here with a little head cold myself. I'm sure you can hear it a little bit. So, yeah, looking forward to this one. And Kathy, I'll let you welcome all your clients also.
Yeah, welcome on behalf of Freeze Financial here in Chippewa Falls. Yeah, really looking forward to hearing what you have to say, Michelle. I'm going to be coming into the holiday season well. I got 9 grandbabies we spend a little time with. A lot of them are in school, preschool. So yeah, a lot of booger noses at this time. So looking forward to how to stay healthy to try to get past all this. So
By the way,
welcome,
Kathy, I
Michelle.
think that was a technical term, right? Isn't that a technical, like
Yeah, it
technical
sure
term?
is.
Very, very scientific.
Yes, it is.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
so thank you for joining us,
Awesome.
Michelle, today. We're looking forward to
Oh,
hearing from you.
Yeah, Michelle, thank you for all the hard work that
yeah.
you do to keep us healthy. And like Carson said, or like Miles said, he gets a couple nuggets from each one. The trouble is, I get like 3 pages of nuggets, and I have to go back and
Yeah.
distill these nuggets I can actually remember. Because I mean, I'm serious. I'm like writing them down,
Mhm.
going through this. So thank you again. I know you're just a wealth of knowledge, and I know you dedicate your life to us staying healthy and forcing us to eat right. Like I love that when I pick up a French fry and I think of Michelle going, no, no, no. It's like a struggle. So thank you.
You're welcome for that. No problem. You guys, thank you for being here today. I'm thrilled to talk about this topic. I think it's very timely, as everybody said. With the holidays around the corner, it's tough to really think about maybe like weight loss or your health and wellness goals during this time of year. So instead, shifting gears and thinking about how do I avoid what sometimes seems like the inevitable cold, or after a family gathering, everyone going home with some sort of crazy illness. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Chris, I'm going to try to lay out for you very simple. Here are your bullet points. This is what you have to do. Everybody will get a copy of these slides afterwards. I am currently sitting in my husband's office, who owns a CrossFit gym, and someone put this awesome Chips Ahoy cookie window sticker on the outside. So if my head shifts and you guys see that, just know that that's a joke, and I'm not here like promoting Chips Ahoy on the sly or anything like that. It's just a joke.
It looks like there's a little bourbon back there too, so you have to keep
Also,
blacking that
that
out.
that's
Yeah.
yeah. Just, there we go.
There you
No,
go. Chips Ahoy bourbon.
well, moderation, right? Moderation, and look at my
Right.
cute husband and my son. There we go. Anyways, all right, you guys, I'm going to share my slides. Let's get into this. We are going to talk all about how to support your immune system over the next, call it 3 months. I love that we call it cold and flu season. But if you think about it, okay, yes, we're indoors more. Maybe we're seeing family from all over, wherever. But also, we're consuming usually more alcohol, more sugar, more treats that we wouldn't normally indulge in, maybe. And then we wonder why we end up sick this time of year. So, with that little nugget in your head, you can kind of get a preview of what we might be talking about today. So, the optimal training for your immune system. That's really what we're going to dive into. How do we do that on a more natural level? What sort of lifestyle choices should we be making? Nutritional choices should we be making? What sort of supplement protocol should we be following this time of year? Before we do that, a little life update from me. Here's my cute kiddos. Oakley is now 3. He'll be 4 in January. Remy just turned 2 on Sunday. And there is my 36-week baby bump. I'm 36 and a half weeks now, and I will hopefully have a baby by the end of the year. I'm due December 16th. So we're really excited to welcome the grand finale into our family. We haven't found out with our other two kids their gender, so we don't know the gender of this kid. You can maybe guess from my baby bump and send me your predictions, and we'll let you know a couple weeks from now what
Congratulations.
this
That's
baby's going to be.
awesome.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris. That's my husband's CrossFit gym. Still trying to stay active, making it into the gym 5 days a week. What I do when I get there, but I'm doing something, which I feel very blessed to have had such a healthy pregnancy thus far.
Awesome.
All right, enough about that. Let's get into it. What is your immune system? What are some basics about your immune system? What do we need to know as individuals about how this works? So, as many of you probably know, it protects your body from viruses, bacteria, harmful invaders. It actually has two main parts: your innate immune system, which is basically fast and very general defense, and then you have an adaptive system that's slow, but it's very targeted. So think about in a perfect world, if you have gotten, let's see, what's something you only get once in your life? Mono. Okay, that's part of your adaptive immune system. Your immune system then adapts. Once you've had mono, you have the antibodies that live in your body. And should you come into contact with someone that has mono again, those antibodies know what to do, and you don't end up with mono again. So you have two different sides of your immune system. We need to support both of those. The main things that we're going to talk about today that can support those: your nutrition, your sleep, your stress, how well you're managing your stress, and movement, all directly impact how well that immune system can go to bat for you when you come into contact with these viruses, bacteria, other harmful invaders, right? Something you may not have known, but about 70% of your immune system actually is located in your gut. So we are learning more and more and more these days about how important the gut health is for basically the rest of your body to flourish. So if we don't have a healthy gut, one of the main things that we see is we tend to end up sick more often. And that's because 70% of our immune system lives in our gut. So we're going to dive deeper into that and how do we support our gut health so that we're supporting our overall immune health. How do you know if you have a strong immune system? That's a question I get often, especially this time of year. And here's how you know if maybe your immune system needs some support. Okay. So if you get sick pretty easily, it feels like every time you run into somebody with the sniffles, you end up catching what they have, your immune system needs support. If every time you get sick, it lasts for weeks, again, our immune system needs some support. You're going to be taking some notes today. If you have higher inflammation markers in your body, so this could be acknowledged through a blood test. You can get your inflammation checked, your systemic inflammation, through a blood test called CRP, C-reactive protein. And if your C-reactive protein comes back higher than 3, then you've got some systemic inflammation going on, and we got to give the immune system some love. If you haven't ever had it checked, but you struggle with fatigue, if you struggle with brain fog, joint pain, digestive issues, you likely have some systemic inflammation going on and your immune system needs some support. If you struggle with an autoimmune disease, which is becoming more common, heart disease, type 2 diabetes, allergies, asthma, IBS, inflammatory bowel disease, chronic fatigue syndrome, if you struggle with any of those, then again, if we can support the immune system, it can help support you and put some of those things into remission. And then if you have a lower overall energy, then you probably need to be, again, taking some notes today. That's just a sign that your immune system needs some love. Okay. If you don't struggle with any of these, if you find yourself that you're never sick, and even if you do get sick, it takes 10 seconds and you're over it, you don't have any brain fog or joint pain or digestive issues, you don't have any chronic conditions, and you're fully energized all the time, then you can go ahead and close your computer or we can turn the screen over to you and you guys can give us your tips. Okay. I feel like something on here we can all relate to a little bit, right? Even myself. So what are those foundational tips for supporting our immune system? We're going to start with the food component. Okay. Food plays a huge role when it comes to making sure our immune system is healthy. If we are eating a diet that's high in processed food, so high in sugar, high in bread, pasta, cookies, crackers, chips, think about back to that presentation. If you guys have been with us a long time, many years ago, I think at this point, we gave a presentation titled The Power of the Fork. And we talked all about every time we eat, we have the opportunity to steer our body towards disease or steer our body towards health. And what gets us in that direction towards disease is if we are spending the majority of our money at the grocery store in the aisles When you come home from the grocery store, when you're putting your groceries away, are the majority of your groceries going in the fridge or are they going in the pantry? If they're going in the pantry, we really, really, really need to revamp that grocery list, not only for your immune health, but for your overall health and well-being. Okay, the majority of our groceries should be going in the fridge. The majority of our money should be spent around the outside of the grocery store. Those are where the whole real foods are, the nutrient dense foods. Remember, our bodies are biologically designed for many reasons to eat foods that come from the earth: fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, eggs, meat, beans, oats, lentils, fruit, fish, and that's about it. If we can be reaching for those foods 80% of the time, we're going to set ourselves up for success. Nutrition is one of the main foundational components for overall health, and we need to rethink the way that we think about food. Food is fuel for our body, which is a fancy sports car. And if we want this fancy sports car to perform to its utmost ability, we need that premium fuel. So again, whole nutrient dense foods. We need to be eating enough protein every day. Protein plays a huge role in your immune system. We'll dive deeper into that in a couple slides. And then we have to stay well hydrated, especially this time of year where it gets colder. It seems harder to drink enough water. We have to be very, very intentional about that. Okay. Let's look at this. Some foods that we can reach for that support our immune system in many different ways. We're talking about very specific foods. All of these, you'll notice, are whole, real foods, right? That's the major priority. And then if we want to get a little bit deeper, a little bit more into the nitty gritty, citrus fruits, they're full of vitamin C. Broccoli and red bell peppers specifically have antioxidants in it, which support your immune system. Antioxidants also they neutralize what we call free radicals. So free radicals are these little misshaped cells that roam around your body looking to cause harm. They could end up leading to something like cancer if they have the ability to divide and divide and divide. But if we are consuming enough antioxidants, they go take care of these free radicals. They neutralize them. They kill them. So if we are eating a diet that's high in antioxidants, these free radicals don't become a problem down the road. Garlic and onions, they have microbial properties, which is pretty cool. So I don't know if you've ever heard, like if you're struggling with some sort of head cold and you've been advised to eat garlic. That's why. You can eat a whole clove of garlic. You can take garlic in supplement form. You can eat a teaspoon of minced garlic. I know that sounds really gross, but it does have these antimicrobial properties. I don't know if you've ever seen with kids, if a little one is sick, you take garlic and you can basically wrap it to the bottom of their feet and help that garlic absorb into their body. It's also used to treat GBS, so being 36 and a half weeks pregnant, something around this time. Typically what women will get tested for is group B strep to see if they have group B strep, and one of the natural ways that you can treat group B strep is actually through garlic, which is super interesting. Ginger and turmeric, anti-inflammatory support. So maybe you've heard of taking turmeric as a supplement to help lower inflammation in the body, help with joint pain, but also really supports your immune system. Eating more of it, you can drink it in the form of a tea, you can take it in supplement form if you really don't like things that are ginger or turmeric flavored. And then lastly, dark green leafy vegetables and berries contain these really awesome phytonutrients, which are basically, if you think about macronutrients, and then we have these micronutrients. Phytonutrients fall underneath there, just really important nutrients that our bodies need for overall health and well-being. Okay. Again, you're going to get a copy of these slides, but if you guys want to take pictures of them so you can implement some of this stuff, please feel free. All right, let's talk about the link between our gut health and our immune system. So I said that 70% of your immunity lives in your gut. What in the world does that even mean? And how does that play a role in whether or not we get sick often? So maybe you've heard the term leaky gut, and I want to dive a little bit deeper into what that is. So if you guys look at that diagram on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, the left side of that diagram, that's the inside of a healthy small intestine. Your small intestine is one cell layer thick. The outside, the wall of your small intestine is one cell layer thick. You can imagine that's pretty thin, right? That's very, very thin. And directly on the other side of that one cell is your bloodstream. Okay, so eating a diet that's high in inflammatory foods like sugar, like bread, pasta, gluten. For some people, it's dairy. What happens is that we start to get these little holes in our small intestine. Okay, little small holes in our small intestine. That's leaky gut because you've got little holes in your small intestine, in your gut. So now your body's working hard to break down these foods, and when they get to your small intestine, your immune system, let me back up for a second, your digestive system is supposed to be a closed track. So think about this example. If you swallow a marble, that marble is supposed to go in your mouth, down your esophagus, into your stomach, small intestine, large intestine, colon, out into the toilet, right? It shouldn't pop out the side of your stomach. It shouldn't pop out of your small intestine. That's a closed track from top to bottom, closed track, right? And then your body's supposed to pull out the nutrients that it wants. When you get these little holes in your small intestine, they're certainly not big enough for a marble to fit through. And if they are, then we've got a whole nother slew of issues. But they're little microscopic holes that allow partially digested food to leak through. Okay. So let's say you have some Cheez-Its. Again, you chew them up down your esophagus, into your stomach digests them a bit, into your small intestine they go, and you've got leaky gut. So you've got these little holes. So now you've got partially digested Cheez-Its that are going to leak out right into your bloodstream on the other side of your small intestine. They're going to get picked up by the bloodstream and circulated around the body. And your Cheez-Its aren't supposed to be in your blood. So your body recognizes that as a foreign invader and starts to attack itself. Your body thinks that there's a virus or something that's being circulated in your blood, something foreign, and we've got to go to work and we've got to defend this body. And so your immune system goes on overdrive. And if you think about an autoimmune disease, auto meaning self, immune system meaning your immune system is attacking yourself. A lot of those autoimmune diseases start with the gut. So if we can make sure that we have a healthy gut, then we don't have this immune system that's in overdrive, that's being asked to work for us all the time, that's putting us at risk of being more sick because our immune system is compromised because it's having to work so hard. Then we have less likely of a chance of getting sick, right? If our gut health and if our small intestine wall is fully intact. How do we do this? We can do this through probiotic foods. Those are fermented foods, yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, to name a few. I like kombucha as well. You can take a good probiotic. I'm happy to recommend one. Prebiotic foods. Prebiotic foods, think about those as food for the probiotics. Probiotics are just a bunch of bacteria that live in your gut. You need a diverse amount of bacteria. You can't just have one overgrowth of a specific type of bacteria in your gut. That's a whole nother issue. You need lots of different types of good bacteria in the gut, and we have to feed those somehow. Those are called prebiotics, and prebiotic foods are bananas, oats, onions, just to name a few. Flax seeds are another one. You can take a prebiotic, and then making sure that we're getting enough fiber also helps feed this good bacteria. I think the recommendation of fiber daily is 25 grams, but if you follow anybody in the functional medicine world, they set the bar higher. They say that we need 50 grams of fiber every day. For most Americans, we're not even reaching that 25-gram mark. Where do you find fiber? The most fibrous dense food on the planet is actually chia seeds. Okay, so if you want to put a tablespoon of chia seeds in your water, that's what my sister does. And then you just, drink your water, suck it down, and you don't even realize they're there. You can do that. You can sprinkle them on a salad. You can put them in your yogurt. You can put them on your eggs. You can sneak them in. They don't taste like anything. Put them in a smoothie. That's a wonderful way to get tons of fiber. Additionally, dark green leafy vegetables, berries, strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, blueberries, all high in fiber. Broccoli, cauliflower, those green veggies, they're going to be high in fiber. And the goal being 50 grams of fiber every day. Okay, that's your homework. Let's keep going. Protein. I said we were going to circle back around to this. This is absolutely imperative for supporting your immune system. Okay, the reason being is that protein is essential for building and repairing every cell in your body. Okay, this includes the components of your immune system. Okay, the main component of your immune system are your little antibodies built from amino acids. So antibodies, think about those as the little soldiers that go to bat for you when you come into contact with some germs. Okay, so we need these and we need them to be strong. And they are made entirely, again, from what we call amino acids. And amino acids come from protein. So most Americans, again, similar to fiber, we are under eating when it comes to the amount of protein we need every day. We typically overdo it on the carbs, overdo it on the not so healthy fats, and then we under eat when it comes to healthy fat and good quality protein sources. How much protein do we need? We need between 0.5 at a very minimum and 0.8 grams of protein per pound of ideal body weight. Okay, so let's say an ideal weight for you, a really good healthy weight for you is 200 pounds. You take 200 multiplied by 0.5, that's 100. So it would be on a very bare minimum, you need 100 grams of protein every day. And then on an upper limit, 160 grams of protein every day. There is a case to be made for some people that need even more than that. If you're really strength training heavily, you're trying to build muscle, put muscle on, you can go higher than that. But for the average American, for health purposes, we need between 0.5 and 0.8 grams of protein per pound of ideal body weight. Okay, so get out your calculators, do your math, see how much protein you need. And then what I would encourage you to do is then use something like MyFitnessPal for today or tomorrow and track all of your food. And look at those two things. Look at how much fiber you're consuming and look at how much protein you're consuming. And if we're not getting enough of each, we need to work and strive hard, especially over the next few months, to try and reach those goals. Okay. What are good sources of protein? Poultry, so that'd be chicken or turkey. Eggs are amazing. Really try and buy those pasture raised eggs when you can. That means the chicken had a wonderful life. It was able to roam. It had its natural diet. It had access to sunlight. It wasn't stuck in a cage all day. Fed corn and soy to be as fat as possible, as quickly as possible. You can notice the nutrient difference in like the 96-cent eggs and the pasture raised eggs. If you were to crack one and the other in a pan, the 96-cent eggs are going to be like a pale yellow. The shell is going to be very thin. It's going to crack before you even get it to the pan. Pasture raised eggs are going to be a lot harder of a shell, and it's going to be more of a brilliant orange. Okay, so that's literally a visual representation of the nutrient difference. All right. Additionally, we've got fish. Specifically, wild caught fish is higher in omega-3s compared to farm raised fish. That helps regulate inflammation, helps keep that inflammation low. Legumes, so that would be any kind of bean or lentil, higher in fiber. It's a good source of plant protein that supports your gut health. Grass-fed ground beef. Remember, red meat, we demonized red meat. We've some people demonize the whole meat industry, and I think it's way more nuanced than that. We can't just say that all meat is bad. We really have to think about, you guys have heard me say this before, not just you are what you eat, but you are what you eat eats. What was the life like of the animal that you are consuming? Okay, so think about a cow that's raised in a feedlot, fed corn and soy its whole life, not able to exercise, no access to sunlight, antibiotics because it's in such tight quarters. Then it goes off to the slaughterhouse and ends up on your plate. Versus the cow that's able to roam in a pasture, natural diet of grass, access to sunlight, exercise, takes a little bit longer to get to a weight where it's allowed to go to the slaughterhouse, but then that meat ends up on your plate. There is a measurable nutrient difference in those two pieces of meat. So I have to be very specific when I say ground beef or any sort of beef. We want grass-fed, pasture-raised. That's what the life of that animal should be like. And we should want that for our animals, right? Not raised in confinement and fed its unnatural diet to be as fat as possible, as quickly as possible. That's horrible. And then we've got nuts and seeds, a wonderful source of protein, zinc. Zinc is wonderful for your immune system, which we'll learn about when we get to the supplement page, vitamin E, and healthy fats. Okay. 0.5 to 0.8 grams per pound of ideal body weight.
So Michelle, as I add those up, I'm a pretty tall guy, I've got 220, 230 pounds. When I'm looking at how much I should use or how much I should have in total, it seems like it's going to be hard for me to eat that much calories and stay within the regular calorie, recommended calorie outlay for a day. Is it because I'm taller and I'm 6'6", relatively,
Yeah.
I got to eat like just of that. I think it was 805 to 1,288 calories a day just in protein.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure because I'm gonna.
Yeah, it's a lot of protein.
Okay.
It is about between 25 and 35% of your calories should come from protein every day.
Yeah.
And then from a carb standpoint, somewhere around 25, and the rest should be healthy fat.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. All right, let's keep it moving. All right, supplements to support your immune system. Before I even get into this, I want you guys to look at that little star down the bottom left-hand corner. Food and lifestyle come first, and then supplements fill in the gaps. The analogy I like to give is that supplements, we rely on them, some of us, as if we are mowing the lawn while our house is on fire. Okay? So if you are just taking supplements, eating McDonald's, eating a bunch of sugar, overdoing it on the caffeine, drinking alcohol every night, and you think that your vitamin D is going to save you, it's not. Okay? So we've got to get the lifestyle in check. We got to get the food in check, and then supplements simply fill in the gap. Okay? Supplements that are specific for immune system support, vitamin D. About 70% of the population has insufficient or true vitamin D deficiency, insufficient levels of vitamin D or vitamin D deficiency. If you've ever had your vitamin D checked, ideally it's above 50. Okay. Above 50 is the goal. The reference range will say if you're above 30, you're fine. But what we're learning is that really we should set that bar higher. It should be above 50. Okay. So I like the vitamin D from Thorne. It's vitamin D with K2. It's a liquid. I put it on my kids' food, 2 drops every morning. You need to take it with food. For myself, I do 3 drops every morning. It would be 3,000 IUs. That's how you measure vitamin D. And that's what we like to do. Zinc is another wonderful supplement to support your immune system. But if you didn't know this, your body actually has a really hard time absorbing zinc. So it needs something called an ionophore to help it get into the cells. And what's an ionophore? What supplement could we take that's an ionophore that helps it transport into the cells? It's called quercetin. You can see it right there, Quercetin. They work together. So if you're taking zinc without quercetin, your body is wasting a lot of that zinc because it has a very difficult time absorbing it. So we take those in conjunction with one another. Quercetin is also an awesome supplement for anybody who has seasonal allergies. I would highly recommend that. Vitamin C, high dose vitamin C supports the immune system. I think we all are aware of that. Omega-3s, they help decrease that inflammation in the body. That's how they come to the rescue of your immune system. Fish oil. If you have high triglycerides, I would recommend a specific type of fish oil called Mega-10. And you can buy that from this company right here called Metagenics. And that specifically is trying to help you lower your triglycerides. Triglycerides, even though they're a marker of fat in the blood and they're part of our cholesterol panel, they're typically driven up by too much sugar and too many processed carbohydrates. Okay, so we want to work to decrease the amount of sugar we're consuming, decrease our processed carb intake, and then maybe we can consider that Mega-10 supplement from Metagenics to help lower our triglycerides. Elderberry or elderberry syrup can be a wonderful natural support to your immune system. Some people ask me, do I only take these when I'm sick or am I supposed to be taking them all winter? For our family, we take these all winter. We kind of do it on the proactive side of things versus, oh, I'm starting to feel sick or I was around someone that was sick and then start the protocol, which you can do. That's fine too. But we like to try and stay on top of things, and we are all taking these through the winter months. My kids, for the omega-3s, we have a liquid fish oil for them. Okay. Remember that the supplement industry is the wild, wild west. So there's no governing body that's regulating our supplements. So we want to make sure that we're buying supplements from what we call a third-party batch tested company. That just means that they send their products off to a third-party lab to be checked to make sure this is 250 milligrams of magnesium or whatever it is they claim to be selling. Some of the top companies out there, Pure Encapsulations, Metagenics, Thorne, and Designs for Health. There's a wonderful platform called FullScript. You have to have a provider to set you up an account, but it's basically a platform where you can buy all top quality supplements. My sister and I have an account. She's a nurse, so she is the provider, and she can set you guys up an account where we can pass along our discount to you. So if you're interested in a platform where you don't have to worry about the quality of the supplements and you get a discount, you let us know. We just need your email address, your first and last name, and we can set you up that account. And then if you have any specific things that you want recommended to you, we can put that in your plan, or you could just go on there and shop and buy your normal supplements. But just email me after this presentation. I'm happy to set you up. All right, stress, which as the nutrition lady, it's not hard for me to admit, but what the research tells us actually matters the most out of anything we're going to talk about today. Chronic stress is one of the biggest predictors of how often you get sick and how long it takes you to recover. For some of us, that's tough to hear because we do a good job. We got our nutrition on point. We've got our protein intake. We're drinking our water. We're going to the gym. but we have this chronic stress. We don't really know how to deal with it. And it's kind of on the back burner, but that's one of the biggest predictors of illness. When you are constantly stressed and you have your, what we call your sympathetic nervous system always activated, that's the fight or flight side of your nervous system. This drives up your cortisol levels. When your cortisol levels are high for a consistent amount of time, your immune cells weaken. Your whole immune system becomes compromised. So therefore, it becomes harder for you to fight off anything. And some people can look back to a really stressful season in their life. Maybe they had a stressful year or stressful few months, and they can pair that with, oh my gosh, I was so sick during that time. I just felt like I caught everything around me. And that's because your immune system really does rely on your body to be not in this fight or flight state all the time. We want to find ways to activate the other side of our immune system, which is called your parasympathetic nervous system. Think about a parachute brings you down. Okay, so you've got the fight or flight side, the sympathetic side, the go, go, go American schedule. We tend to live there, but that's really detrimental when it comes to how well we can fight off these invaders. So we have to prioritize this idea of stimulating our parasympathetic nervous system. Okay, so that's where your immune system becomes the strongest. It helps you improve your sleep. The busy brain that we all end up with, whether we can't fall asleep because the brain's going, or we wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and then our brain gets going, then we can't go back to sleep, comes from stress, comes from that cortisol being too high. If we spend more time stimulating our parasympathetic nervous system, we can decrease that systemic inflammation, and therefore we boost our resilience to illness. Here are a few ways that we can do that. The power of the breath. We've talked about this in the past. Breath work is something that we have on us at all times, which is so awesome, right? Whether you're sitting in a meeting you don't want to be in, you're fighting with your spouse, your kids or grandkids are screaming in the car, whatever it is where you're feeling so overwhelmed, you have your breath. Okay. And the trick here is that our exhale needs to be twice as long as our inhale. Okay, so some people say the 4-7-8 breathing, where you breathe in for 4, you hold it for 7, then you breathe out for 8. That works wonderfully. You can do that. Just 3 rounds of that will turn that parasympathetic nervous system on. For some people, that's too long and they feel like they're drowning, and then that's adding to the stress, and it's completely backwards from what we're trying to do. So if that's you, cut it all in half. Breathe in for 2, hold the breath for 3, breathe out for 4. The idea is that, and we're doing this through the nose. Okay, the idea here is that the exhale becomes twice as long as the inhale. That turns on that parasympathetic nervous system. Getting out in nature, simply going outside, being in nature, that lowers your stress hormones, lowers the cortisol. Journaling, or the process of what we call 3 good things. It helps you process the day, helps you view the world through a more positive lens. That process of 3 good things, I'll remind you, it's the idea that this is actually being studied at UNC Chapel Hill right now, up against antidepressant and anti-anxiety medication. And what it is at the end of the day, you take an expo marker and you write on your bathroom mirror 3 good things that happened to you that day. So what that's doing, it's retraining your brain to see the world through a more positive lens. Our family can tend to be negative, our social media can be negative, the news is negative, sometimes our work environment can be negative, and then we adopt that mentality, and that's the lens with which we view the world. But you can train your brain, this is very cool, you can train your brain to be more optimistic, to be someone who sees the world through a glass half full lens, but you have to practice it. So at the end of the day, you take that expo marker, you write down 3 good things that happened to you that day on your bathroom mirror, so you're committing it to memory, and then when you wake up in the morning, it's the first thing you see. That can truly help you feel more positive, help you feel less stressed, help lower the cortisol that your body tends to be producing in this world that we live in. Meditation, even just 3 minutes of meditation every day, can improve sleep quality and strengthens your stress resilience. And then lastly, connecting with family and friends. This is the season to do that. So this is a perfect time to talk about this. Positive social interactions, they boost our mood, they reduce stress, as long as we're hanging out with the right people, right? And they strengthen our immune system. How cool is that? That's been proven as well. That study of, and this is not via phone, via FaceTime, via social media. This is in-person connections with these people these positive social interactions truly do have an impact physiologically on the body, which is pretty profound, right? All right, movement. This is really important too. And when I talk about movement as it relates to the immune system, we are not talking about F45, CrossFit, Orange Theory, this high intensity interval training. That can actually be an additional stress on the body, which can therefore then weaken your immune system. So we're talking about more steady movement. We're talking about something simple like walking or cycling, getting on the rowing machine. Maybe you like to swim. Maybe you like to do yoga or deep stretching, Pilates. Some sort of low level physical activity is very, very good for helping lower your cholesterol and can improve your immune system function versus that high intensity exercise without proper recovery. It does the opposite. It can raise your cortisol, deplete your energy reserves, and then weaken your immune system. Okay. So if you are looking this winter for an encouragement to find some movement into your day, think about your immune system, think about how you can support it, think about how much better you can feel if we just get 30 minutes. That's the goal. Most days, not every day, most days we're getting 30 minutes. It doesn't have to be straight. We can do a 10-minute walk in the morning, 10-minute walk at lunch, 10-minute walk at dinner. Boom, 30 minutes. Some strength training. This could be like supersets. So you're going to do some bench press and then you're going to do some sort of lat pull down or pull ups, and you're not going very fast. Your heart rate's not getting up super high. You're not lifting super heavy, but we are just putting our muscles under a little bit of tension, and we do a strength training routine. It could all just be body weight if you want. We have a wonderful body weight strength training routine. If you guys want that, please reach out to us. It can be done with no equipment in your living room in 20 minutes. Okay. 30 minutes. Most days. That's the goal. Hydration. This is a huge one. So I mentioned this at the beginning as well. I know it's cold and flu season. I mean, I know it's cold outside, so it's harder to want to drink water. We've got to find ways to stay hydrated. Staying well hydrated actually keeps the mucous membranes in your nose, your throat, and your lungs moist. And that's your body's first line of defense against viruses and bacteria. That's how they make it into our bodies. We either inhale them, they come through our nose, through our mouth, and then into our lungs. And so if we have a well hydrated membrane, we can help fight against those viruses and bacteria easier. And sometimes they don't even make it absorbed into the body because we're so well hydrated. And so when those tissues are dry, the pathogens have an easier time making their way into our bodies. So we struggle with water during this time where it's cold outside. Hot tea is a great way to stay well hydrated and support your immune system with some additional antioxidants. Specific teas that we can buy: ginger, peppermint, chamomile, and echinacea tea. Chamomile, that's a sleepy time tea. You might have heard of that. That's typically taken before bed. It helps calm our nervous system, helps us feel more tired or just ready to go to bed nice and calm. So that's one that I would recommend drinking in the evening. The other three you can drink anytime, and they are going to help loosen congestion, support relaxation, and then support the immune system that way. Okay, especially with the antioxidants as well. So write that down: ginger, peppermint, chamomile, or echinacea tea. And you could drink that all day long if you wanted to. Remember, how much water do we need? So Chris, I know you mentioned you're a big guy, 220, 230 pounds, 6'6". You need a lot of water. It's half your body weight in ounces of water every day.
Okay.
So if you weigh 220 pounds, you need 110 ounces of water every day. You guys are all probably thinking, wow, that's a lot of trips to the bathroom. And it is. And that's okay. And over time, your body gets used to it and you won't be running to the bathroom nearly as much. But I know, so for me, this is a 20-ounce bottle. So I need to be drinking a certain number of these every single day to make sure I'm meeting my hydration goals. Okay, so for you, get a water bottle, know how many ounces are in there, do the math, and then set yourself that goal.
Okay.
All right, what's a simple daily routine look like that is about supporting your immune system? So we wake up in the morning and we've got some sort of hydration going on, whether it's tea. For me, my routine right now looks like the hydrogen water tablets. If you guys haven't seen those, This was something that Gary Brecka was on about for a while. So the hydration water bottles were really popular for a second. I think they've like kind of come and gone. And what we've learned is that over time, they're not producing as much hydrogen into the water as they are originally. So the way to make sure you're still getting lots of hydrogen, which is natural anti-inflammatory, supports your immune system, is you just buy the tablets. You drop it into a glass of 8 to 10 ounces of water. The tablet bubbles up and essentially disintegrates, and you have this kind of fizzy water, and you're getting hydrogen rich water. So I'm doing that every morning. And then I have a protein rich breakfast. So I typically have 4 eggs that has some kind of additional protein in it, whether it's turkey sausage or regular sausage or bacon. And then I always put veggies in there. So this morning was sweet potatoes and little cherry tomatoes. And that's my breakfast. And then during the day, we're getting that movement in, and we're reaching for those whole real foods all throughout the day, trying to get that 50 grams of fiber, working on our additional water intake, and making sure we're getting enough protein. And then in the evening, we have some sort of routine to help us prioritize sleep. So we're unwinding maybe with a book, we're off our screens, we're drinking our chamomile tea, and then we really prioritize sleep. So sleep, the more we learn about sleep, the more we realize sleep is absolutely imperative for overall health. There have been big studies that look at sleep, and for my gentlemen who sleep less than 6 hours regularly every night, you actually have testosterone levels that match men 10 years your senior. So if you're a 30-year-old male, you're sleeping less than 6 hours of sleep every night, your testosterone levels look like somebody who's 40. And testosterone is going to decrease naturally over time. There's, that's just life. And there are things that we can do to support that. But let's not speed that process up by not getting enough sleep. Not getting enough sleep also compromises your immune system. It also puts you at higher risk for Alzheimer's and dementia. And that has been very, very clear over the last couple of years. We want to prioritize our sleep. So for my gentlemen, we need a minimum of 7 hours. Ladies, we actually need more sleep. We need between 8 and 9 hours every night. So if your partner's giving you a hard time for sleeping more than they sleep, tell them you need it. It's just a biological difference between men and women, right? And then to hammer it home, we want consistency over perfection. If we can just do our best to show up for ourselves on a daily basis to the best of our ability, it doesn't have to be perfect. If we can follow that 80-20 rule, not only with our food, but in our lifestyle choices too, we're going to be okay. All right, consistency over perfection. And then here we go. First signs of illness. All right, so say you're getting that drainage down the back of your throat and your throat's starting to hurt a little bit. Here are some things that we need to do immediately. We need to rest. We need to prioritize our sleep. We need to stop going to our high intensity interval training class. We need to keep moving our body, but we don't need to do that HIIT style training. We need to increase our water, get our water intake up, drink those teas, drink the water, warm broths and teas. So this could be, I didn't mention this previously, but Kettle and Fire is an awesome brand of broth. And it's like 10 grams of protein per 1 cup of bone broth. They have a chicken bone broth, a beef bone broth, and warm broths are really good for supporting your gut health. So if you struggle with gas, constipation, bloating, diarrhea, IBS, that's the sign that your gut health, you might have leaky gut, you might just have some IBS, some sort of gut digestive issues where your gut is not flourishing. One way that we can support the gut health is through this warm bone broth. And if we're supporting our gut health, then we're supporting our immune health. Gentle movement only. And then we need to decrease our sugar, our processed carbs, and our alcohol intake immediately. Those things are going to make us more sick, and they're going to lengthen the duration of whatever little bug that we're fighting right now. Okay. So if we can really decrease our sugar, and we're talking about added sugar that's been dumped in to make something taste sweeter. We're not talking about natural sugar from fruit. Okay. We're talking about candy, cookies, some sort of sauces, anything that's higher in sugar, and then we're decreasing the bread and the pasta, cookies, crackers, chips, those things too, okay? And ideally, we're not drinking any alcohol. All right, so in conclusion, we're thinking about how do we support the immune system? And I know I talked specifically about kind of over the next 3 months, but we need to be thinking about this as more of a lifestyle. If we want our immune system to be as strong as possible, these are habits that we can implement, and we need to keep them implemented year long. Maybe you're only taking that supplement protocol consistently for 3 months, and then you have it on hand for the summer months where you maybe run into somebody with a summer cold. But really, we're focusing on resilience. We're not focusing on quick fixes or short-term miracle things. Okay, we're trying to create these healthy diet and habits over a long period of time. That's our strongest defense. All right. And then I want to remind you that these small choices make a big difference. I love the analogy where it's two ships, they're headed in one same direction, and then one ship changes course by 1 degree. Over time, that ship that changed course by 1 degree is going to end up at a completely different place than the ship that never changed course, right? So that 1 degree could be I'm drinking more water. And you want to do another degree? Okay, I'm going to exercise 30 minutes, low level physical activity 5 days a week. Oh, and I'm going to make sure I'm getting all my protein, and I'm going to make sure I'm working on my fiber. And over time, as we add these habits in, these two boats end up in totally different places. This one full of health, vitality, longevity. This one straight for disease. Okay, so it's small choices that make a huge difference over time. So don't feel like, oh, I just drink more water, but that's, not really going to do anything for me. It is. These small choices over time make a big difference. So I hope that encourages you. All right, that's all I have. I know that wellness is a super personal journey. I say this every time. So if you guys have personal wellness questions, or maybe you're dealing with something specific as it relates to your immune system or something you're battling, email me, Michelle@altitude-wellness.com. That's part of being a client of these wonderful human beings. You guys have access to me whenever with your questions. If you guys want more of these wellness tips, you can go follow my sister and I on Instagram at Altitude Wellness 1, and you guys can have little nuggets as we fill in the gaps between these awesome sessions that you guys are this amazing team puts on for you guys. All right, what questions do you have? Put them in the chat. I'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, I want to remind anybody who has any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, I know that Miles and myself and Catherine will just ask all the questions as we go through. We do have 4 pages of notes, so that's good so far. I guess it's fewer
Nice.
than normal, but I wrote those in as well. One question I have just to begin with before we have anyone else submit one is molecular hydrogen as a source. Do you find, I mean, I see Dr. Merkel, what's one of the best sources of molecular hydrogen in water?
Like the brand?
Yeah, brand or, yeah, exactly.
Ulta UL, let's see, I've got it being delivered today. I
Mhm.
like I think it's called Ulta. Yeah, delivered today between 3 and 6 p.m. Look at that. Active H2 Ultra. Can you see that, Chris? It's $30 for
H2
30
Yep.
supplements. This is the brand that Gary Brecka does recommend. So it's,
Mhm.
he says like one, if you guys don't know who he is, he's a longevity expert, brilliant guy. And he's like, this is the cheapest, best hack you could possibly do for your body. It's $1 a day, 1 tablet into your water in the morning. I would recommend that.
So I had a Dr. Gladden who I do work with for quite a while, and we used molecular hydrogen about 10 years ago. And I do tell you, it said, whenever you're getting on a plane, whenever you're about to work out, take it beforehand. And I tell you what, it did give you an invigorated, it's like giving you a caffeine burst, but in a good way. It's kind of crazy, but
Yeah,
when you
it
do have
is.
it, it does work. So whatever that is worth as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Other questions? How about Kathy Miles, your own questions?
I was gonna ask the same thing. I was interested to see what the tablets were that you were taking, so that's
Yeah.
perfect. Thank you. I
Mhm.
wrote that down.
Yeah,
Good
sure.
information.
Doesn't taste like
for sure.
anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been busy sending the snaps of the screens to my girls here because they all got little kids, and it's just like fun things for them to just share with them. So
Yeah, yeah, and I should take a picture of the table in the morning when we eat breakfast. We do a big breakfast at our house every day, and my kid, that's when we do our supplements. My kids take supplements. They're amazing supplement takers that have chewable tablets. I've got some liquid things that they take. Just trying to support them. People probably think that we're crazy, but really when you think about our farming practices and the way that we're stripping our soil of nutrients, supplements, like there is an argument to be made if our soil was full of the nutrients that it originally once was, we don't necessarily need supplements, or in a perfect world we wouldn't need them, but because our foods are less nutrient dense these days, there's gaps that need to be filled. We do really prioritize supplements in our household along with all the other things that we talked about today.
Yeah, it's outstanding. A couple of well is the prebiotics products are great. I think one thing, stress matters tremendously. I think that's a good one for us to remember too. I love the gratitude. We have a gratitude journal here that we offer to everybody as well. So it's an everyday thing that we've been doing for many
I
years.
love
So actually, we'll send one to you as well. So we have a little gratitude journal for you. It's been something that one of my good compatriots named Lee Brower, and actually David and Tim as well. I know we've kind of shared with our teams, but that practice is massive. One more thing we've also offered, and I thought we've talked about this, is turn off the news. Turn off the news, because if you look at one of those sources, that's actually one of the things I tell people all the time. If one thing you could do to better your health would be turn off the news. And the ones that have, which is most, have said my life is better because of it. So that's one more thing we can add to that gratitude. And I'd love to start with going big. I normally do for every meeting, so I didn't hear, but I'm grateful for you, for the focus and concentration you have, for both Miles and Kathy for being here as well. Because what it is you give us something that people may have known about, but it's reinforcement from a scientific, energetic professional like yourself. And it's like, yeah, you're right. You know, why did I stop taking H2? Why did I stop drinking kombucha? Well, because it wasn't in the can. I couldn't find it where I found it easily. So that great Instacart thing would be great to deliver all the healthy stuff. And when I do put in the cart bad stuff, it just doesn't deliver it. How about that?
I love that. Yes, that'd be awesome.
I have one question. One of our teammates here is asking about the elderberry, if there's a certain
Yeah.
brand that you prefer or where you get it from, that sort
You
of thing.
know, I get it from a little farmhouse that's like a couple doors down from my house. So if you can find somebody that makes it locally, that's the best source of it. I haven't actually checked on that FullScript website to see if they have an elderberry syrup. I'm sure they have some sort of elderberry supplement. I don't know if they have a syrup. But yeah, if you have a little local farmhouse, farmer's market, that would be one of the best places to get it.
Yeah. Michelle, you said something too that's super important. I've studied this for a long time, and I understand and believe it because it's been as many of the big programs that we're at. But they say, is the gut or the brain more important? They're actually finding that the CEO may be the gut sending signals first to the brain. So having a healthy gut is actually, people talk about, oh, I'm going to be smart, I feel like brain fog. But actually, most of your health, most of your even mindset, most of your energy is actually driven from the gut. So that is massively important, I think, in your mental health, to have a healthy gut. And it's being scientifically proven, what's like roughly 90% of the communication on the vagus nerve travels from the gut to the brain, not the other way around.
Well, your neurotransmitters, which are the little signals that fly around in your brain and make you feel happy, sad, whatever you're feeling, are made in your gut. And so if your gut's dysfunctional, then those signals are going to be dysfunctional. And so if we can support the gut, you're absolutely right, Chris, then we can have a better functioning brain.
That's huge. So I should grow a bigger gut, and that would really help me. Is that what we're saying?
That's it. That's exactly right. You got it.
Love that. No, I appreciate you in that sense. Are there any further questions?
A couple questions on
Come
food.
on.
As it relates to the vegetables and the fruits, frozen versus fresh. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's a tough one because there is a case to be made that the frozen that are flash frozen right there on site block in a lot of those nutrients versus if you buy something fresh from the produce section of a big box grocery store, we don't know how long it's been sitting there. It could be sitting there for 2 weeks, and for every day that it sits there, it becomes more and more dead and becomes more and more nutrient depleted. So if you go into a farmer's market and you can buy something like that, and where you're talking to the farmer, hey, these were picked yesterday, that's the best thing that you could possibly do. The most fresh is the fresh stuff that's been recently picked. If you don't know, I would say frozen, that has a good chance of being just as nutrient dense, if not more.
Okay. And then one more on protein. I think I've found personally, unless you're really tracking it, it's hard to hit those goals. Any easy protein tricks for people?
Yeah, track it is a good one. And then I'd tell people try and do, if you know that you're really struggling, one protein bar, one protein shake a day. You can do a protein bar like an IQ bar, an Aloha bar, an RX bar that'll get you a quick between 10 and 15 grams of additional protein. You could do a protein shake, not the premier protein shakes, but like OWN or Kate Farms or Remedy, or Gain. Those are okay. So trying to just get a little bit there. Hemp seeds have a ton of protein. So if you have something that you can, a salad, sprinkle hemp seeds on, a smoothie, put hemp seeds in. There's little tricks to help you get there. But yes, you are correct. It's hard to reach those protein goals unless you're really trying.
Yeah. The sarcopenia is real, right?
It is.
Sarcopenia you mentioned, yeah, absolutely. Especially as we age, it becomes one of those things where just to maintain muscle mass, that's the number one health indicator for men for reducing your overall cardiac issues. So you said organic flash frozen. I have a garden. I have an organic garden that I have. It's about a quarter acre. It's massive, and we produce an abundance of like kale. I've got Swiss chard. I've got all sorts of stuff, and it's about a month past its its prime. But we put a bunch in a cooler and we still use some from time to time. But I've got spaghetti squash, butternut squash. I'd love to give out to somebody some to everybody on the program here. And we did one of those. It's really awesome. But my question is, so when I use that, or when I've pulled carrots, like I got carrots still in the ground now too. It seems like carrots and celery, I even got celery still. Are those still nutrient decent, even if I've, say, harvested some a week or two or a month or 3 later? Because I've got some squash. I can't eat 40 squash. I can.
Yeah.
Do they
Yeah.
remain okay for
Yeah.
a long time?
They're okay. They're okay. Yeah, they're fine, especially because you're growing them yourself. They're in an organic garden. Like all those things trump
Okay.
going to the big box grocery store. Yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to verify. We looked at that too. So I'm like, oh, maybe I should flash freeze all this stuff when I get it. No, I appreciate that. It's still helpful.
Sure.
And again, I've got 4 pages. Probably I could ask a question to everyone, but I won't. I mean, I speak for Kathy, Miles. Any other questions you guys have? No, I'll just end in gratitude then. Thank you so much, Michelle, for us heading into this season, for the season of Thanksgiving. I was going to mention how many shopping days there are till Christmas, but I'm not going to say that because it's not that many. It's quite funny. It's about 4%. But in celebrating this holiday season, I mean, everybody stay healthy, stay safe. It's a great time you may overindulge from time to time. I guess one question somebody might have is if they overindulge in food or alcohol over the holiday a day or two, what's the best remedy to recovering?
Water and sweat.
Okay, perfect. Water and sweat. So
And
turn
then
the
get back
temperature
to
up
it.
and watching football the next day and drink a lot of water.
There you go.
No, I really appreciate you. Congratulations on your new family member you have coming in again. We appreciate you dedicating your life toward us living a healthier life because it's one of those things we all know we should do. And what I'd love to have, as soon as I can get the Michelle bot sitting like on my shoulder as I'm eating, ordering stuff, and you go, nope, yep, it'd be awesome. So let me know when you got that one going, when AI helps us with this. So I appreciate you tremendously. And I know from all of us as well. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Michelle.
And remember, you can engage with her. So my mom as well has engaged with Michelle when she had a couple of several different questions about this, and then they can engage further. It's what she does as a living. She's fantastic at what she does. So I do encourage you. You have a direct route to her through us. So when she showed us the email and all, I encourage you to take advantage of that, especially if you do have more questions or you want something personalized. She's fantastic at it. So with that, I want to congratulate you, your family. Thank you so much for your profession. Thank you so much for, Adams Wealth Partners and also for Freeze Financial. We really, really appreciate you here. Thank you from Gentian. With that, we wish you a blessed, wonderful Thanksgiving. And thank you all for all you do.